everyone! I have a really exciting announcement today. With all of the discussion around banned books, specifically books written by authors of marginalized communities, Katrina and I got really curious. We wanted to delve into these books and understand why they were being challenged. If you don't know who Katrina Eames, they're pretty much my partner in crime and have been on YouTube for a long time. I'll link all of their things in the description. The theme for this book club is really simple. We will be reading books that authorities don't want you to read. Katrina and I have the privilege of being adults living in cities with really well-funded library systems, in addition to having some disposable income that we can spend on books that we may not otherwise have access to. But not everyone has this. Especially the young people who are being denied access to books that various adults of interesting opinions don't want them to read. Many young people also rely on schools and public libraries to access books and don't have any access to books otherwise, which is why it's incredibly important that we fight what's happening right now. Libraries and schools should be increasing access to any book that any kid needs, not restricting them. The way this will work is every month we will have a book to read, and at the end of the month, Katrina and I will host a live stream where we discuss the book, and you can all join in the conversation in all the comments. Our first book will be Georgia M. Johnson's All Boys Aren't Blue. This is a memoir manifesto by a queer Black author discussing their experiences growing up. It is a nonfiction book that was released in 2020 and discusses some sensitive topics such as consent, racism, sexual abuse, and it also depicts a sexual encounter and statutory rape. This has been removed from school libraries in over 10 states. One interesting thing about George M. Johnson is that they have been very vocal on social media and in mainstream media about the banning of their book and why they feel it is necessary for young people to read his book. I'm personally very curious from a writerly standpoint about how these sensitive topics are handled in the book, because it is written with young adults in mind. So I think that'll be an interesting discussion for what is considered appropriate for a young adult audience. So while we are excited to join the fight by reading these books, fighting for everyone to have access to these books does not mean you necessarily have to read these books as an individual. If any of these topics trigger you, obviously skip this book. We already have a whole list that I'll talk about later of our upcoming books. What we are really hoping to accomplish is not just reading really cool books, but actually working to fix systemic problems. We want to work together to talk to our local school boards and defend access to books, talking to our neighbors and ensuring all of our kids receive an honest education that doesn't erase history or individuals. I believe reading these books and understanding them will help us in that battle. So to give you a preview of our next picks, we have quite a few months all set already. So for March, it's All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. In April, we'll be reading Mouse by Art Spiegel. In May, we'll be reading The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, one of my favorite writers. And then we will be reading Melissa's Story by Alex Gino, which was originally called George, so you might still find it under that name, but the author has requested that we call it Melissa's Story from now on, so that's how we will be referring to it. And then in July, we'll be reading Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall, which has been on my list for years, and I haven't gotten a chance, so I'm excited. And then in June, we will be reading Internment by Samira Ahmed. I hope that you can join us in this adventure together, but if you can't join us every month, completely understandable. I have been in the world's longest reading slump for months now, so this is also a bit of a selfish attempt to get out of that slump and read some great books, but I do hope you get around to reading some of the books and joining us in the discussions. Again, if you want to get involved, the best thing you can do is contact your local school district and talk to them about access to books and why it is important to you. Let them know that just because a book has a queer character or a character of color or just discusses unsavory history does not mean it should be erased. As a queer person of color personally, I know that reading these books has made me feel less alone in the past, and if I had more of these books, I would have felt less alone and more like I had a community just waiting for me as an adult. It really would have been amazing to learn about all of the communities that make up America and make America beautiful, instead of just the very, very specific and curated version of America we learn about in schools. For updates to the book club, make sure you are following both me and Katrina on social media. Again, links in the descriptions. I'm Firewood Sparkler everywhere. She's Katrina Eames everywhere. If you are planning on reading the books with us, we will also have a Discord, which is exciting. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the books that we're reading, and also hear suggestions on what we should read or do in the future. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, and please subscribe also for updates, and you can get information on live streams. I will be updating the community tab, and thank you so much for watching. I think that is it for this video. I will see you all next time. Bye! Special thanks to Untapped Inkwell, Pelon X8, Eric Svensson, Ben Birdperson, and Ginger Snaps for being my patrons. If you would like to support my video work, head on over to my Patreon and check out the perks.